Welcome back. We're talking with Lisa Riebe. She's the author and designer of Pond Punkies, books and toys. And we're talking about this great adventure and how we and our children and our grandchildren can travel from Neptune to Earth. And I have just so many questions. I hope I can get them all in this next 15 minutes. Lisa, you became a toy developer, obviously, because you enjoy playing with your kids. I think that's it, number one.
Yes.
You enjoy the play just as much as they do, and that started your adventure.
Yes.
And then, of course, that grew into the books, and you've got book one, The Arrival of Pond Punkies on Earth. I want to ask you a lot about this, but first, how long have you been working on this project?
I'm going to say, I don't know the exact date, maybe 6 to 8 years ago is when we were sitting around the pond. Then wrote the short story a little time after that, so a good 6 to 7 years on and off.
Okay, and why? Well, first we got to ask, for those kids who are out there and maybe mom said, come on over and look at the TV, you're not going to believe this. Why did they come? Why did they come to the Earth, the Pond Punkies?
Well, they came on accident the first time.
Okay.
Because they go to Neptune Training Academy for training. And what happened was a geyser erupted. And when the geyser erupted, they traveled through this geyser and they ended up on Earth.
Where so it kind of pushed them in the wrong direction.
Yes, it did. But it was sort of the right direction, because once they're on Earth, they defend Earth from unseen forces and do good. And
we need them.
We do. And they latched on to William R. Whitney, this old astronomer who knew they were coming because he had seen them in his scope and all that. But you don't get a lot of that information in the book. It'll come in following books. But that's how they ended up coming to Earth. And what they've realized is that twins are very special within Pond Punkies, and twins can telepathically communicate. Doesn't matter where they are. So when they were blasted to Earth, one was a twin, and her brother was on Neptune, so they could communicate. So that's how they originally ended up coming to Earth, and then when they realized there was a need for them here, then they started figuring out when the geysers were going to erupt.
Is there a moral to the stories? And this is book one, and obviously there's going to be more adventures, and it's going to grow. We're going to get to learn more and more about the Pond Punkies as time goes on, but is there a moral to each story?
Well, I could lie and say there is, but no, these stories were written really for action-packed fun, to pull the reluctant reader in, to get them into reading and enjoy it. So you could get a moral out of it.
Well, it sounds like already there's some good values there. Family closeness and togetherness, relying on your brothers and sisters. I mean, you can probably pull a lot of morals into the story, and then doing good things for one another. So those are all good values that are timeless and go beyond, time and space, obviously. But other than that, the whole purpose of Pond Punkies is just to have fun.
It is. And you can get a lot of morals out of there, because there is closeness, and these friends do have to depend upon each other. And some of them are not very dependable. So will they be there when they're needed? You'll have to find out. And
so there's things to learn. There's things to learn for all of us in the Pond Punkies. What's the reading level for this book?
The reading level is 7 to 11 years old, but 7 would have to be a good reader. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders love it. That's it. They just take off and don't stop. I keep getting emails. I started it after school and I stayed up late and finished reading the book.
Oh.
So they like it. It pulls them in, keeps them there.
That's sweet. That's perfect, absolutely perfect. And then the toy level, I ask you that just because I noticed that this little guy, what's his name?
His name is Blaze.
Blaze has got a little flamethrower. What's the toy level?
The toy level will be 3 years and older.
Okay.
It'll be 3 years and up. And of course that'll end up being the manufacturer who will give us some more of a guidance on it, because the flame will go in and eject out, and anybody swallowing it or chewing on it. And
He's pretty cute.
He's amazing. I will tell you, the individual who made this prototype, it's a sculpture. So he had to individually put every little scale on there. The detail is phenomenal, because when you do take this in to get the toy manufactured, they would use this to make the die for it. And in order to make that die properly, he'd have to have all the detail on him. So
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And, you know, I wanted to ask you about the toy itself and, of course, the illustration. This has been a collaborative effort of a lot of people, and I think you discovered that just with the whole idea of doing this project. It's grown on you and the people that you've pulled along with you on this adventure.
Yes.
I'm mentally making a count, and there's a lot of people involved. Are you happy with the results? Your image of what Blaze would look like and your image of Pond Punkies, are you happy with what you're seeing developed?
Very happy. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because with the illustrator, he did send us an illustration over because he'll read the book and look at it, and he sent an illustration over, and Blaze was, I'm going to tell you, he was Hulk Blaze. He was busting out of his scales, and so we got together and we worked it out, because you know, an illustrator, they're real creative and they like to really make it pop and happen. But the first one wasn't 11 years old, so it's a process. You work with them, and we got him to where he was like this. And Eric Fisher, he's out of Morris, and he is just very talented as an illustrator, and he's the one who illustrated all of these. He's not the sculptor for the action figure, but he's the illustrator.
Well, and Blaze is a pretty strong little guy, but
yes.
he is in fact young and vibrant,
yes.
and he is somebody that the reader is going to be able to relate to, and they do want power over their universe. They do want to make a difference in their world, and you couldn't make him really big and bulky. They want somebody that they can say, yeah, he's just like me and I'm just like Blaze.
Exactly. Well, and the characters in there, you know, there's Blaze, who's not sure, is he a chosen one, isn't he? There's Ace, who is just a main jokester. That's Blaze's best friend. And then there's Finnegan, the one who can't control his flames and they accidentally come out his nose. So there's a character for every child that's out there that they can relate to.
That is really something. It really is, and I'm glad. I mean, I love looking at them, and I love looking at the, you know, the design. When I first saw some of your promotional material, I thought, this is cute. This is going to be really
thank
good. You say it's for the reluctant reader.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
All right. May I use that book? I don't know if anybody knows what this would be called, the spacing between the lines. That's actually called leading. And what we did is we had extra leading put in there, because when children are switching from a chapter book or from a picture book to go up to a chapter book, they look at this page and they're, whoa, that's way too many words for me. So what we did is we increased the spacing so there's less lines on there. We put a larger print in there. We also put a full-page illustration for every chapter to help pull them in,
to guide them through, because they
yes.
still need that, and you know,
yes.
some of us, even when we're grown-ups, we need that.
Yes, exactly. So what we did with that is we didn't use a ton of huge words throughout this book, but we did introduce enough new vocabulary words to keep the reader interested who maybe is not a reluctant reader, because they'll want to read it also. So with the reluctant reader, the child can also go to the web page that Barbara mentioned earlier, and there's vocabulary worksheets, there's crossword puzzles, things that will help them with these new words that are introduced in the book.
That's great.
Yes.
So the teachers can, I mean, you've almost
yes.
made a curriculum. The teachers can
yes.
take this and say, let's have some fun. Maybe it's summer school, you know, maybe it's just, you know, getting back into the school year, or maybe it's just, you know, spring fling week. No matter what time of the year, no matter what the season, you want some light reading and some fun. You've made up some things that the teachers can use and really incorporate this into their classroom.
Yes, and they do. Lately what they've been doing is they'll read the book to their students, and then I'll come in for a visit, but before I come in, they'll pull off the crossword puzzles and they'll pull off the word search programs, and they'll go ahead and they'll go through those, and then they'll be all pumped up and excited for when I come in.
So you found that the adults are enjoying the book as much as the kids?
Yes, isn't it scary?
Well, we all need some adventure, you know. I think we work too hard or something. I don't know. I think everybody needs to have, you know, a little bit of time where they can just go off into outer space. And you're giving that to us.